the wise words of Doa. Let's do it! Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have our yellow Terran player from the team Empire. They are down. I'm sorry, I forgot to change the score there. Down 1-0 at this moment. Have to tie things back up. It is Happy. And his opponent down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, still wearing the tag SlayerS. It is, in fact, our red Protoss player, SlayerS Crank.
Yep, that is correct. Now, Happy, I believe, is from Russia, and I know he was a Warcraft 3 pro gamer before this. He played Undead. So one of those War 3 pro gamers, and we all know about them. People say their micro's so good.
It's a fact, actually.
Well, I would disagree with that, actually. I'm going to straight up disagree with that.
With that, their micro's really good?
Well, I think it's good, but I don't think it's any better than, I don't think there's a noticeable difference in former Warcraft 3 player micro and former Brood War player micro. I really, honestly don't see that big of a difference. And let me finish. And I don't see that Warcraft 3 pro gamers macro is worse than Brood War pro gamers, or even players that just came into StarCraft 2. I don't think the Warcraft 3 experience made as big of a difference in people's StarCraft 2 plays people make it out to be.
I humbly disagree. I do think that there is a noticeable difference, in the way that the players play. I mean, let's take a player like a guy who's near and dear to my heart, Grubby, for example. Okay, Warcraft 3 legend, obviously.
Sure.
And we've seen him pop up in the IPL Top 5 plays plenty of times. Pixel-perfect force fields, unbelievable control, and but sometimes his macro decision-making does get him in trouble in games quite a bit. And I think that may be anecdotal evidence, but I think it's symptomatic of the way that a lot of Warcraft 3 pros approach the game. I struggle to think of a lot of foreign Protoss players that have better control than Grubby, but I can name a few that are better macro players,
Mm-hmm. But what's to say that this really comes from Warcraft 3, though? That's the question.
Ooh. I just want to mention this real quick here. We had a Nexus first for Crank, deciding to put down a Forge right afterwards.
Much more interesting.
Yes, so he can drop some cannons and stop any sort of a nice early attack. And it is, in fact, going to be a 2-racks attack from... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a dirty liar. That's actually 3 barracks right now. Let's see if Crank was able to get a read on this, and he was not.
This could work, actually. This could actually work out for Crank anyway, because when you go for this opening, generally you do go for 2 cannons at your front, and 2 cannons should be okay. Yeah, there's first photon cannon going down, and if Crank does what most Protoss would do in this occasion, he would put down a second one very quickly as well, and that should stop this cold more or less.
And look at this.
There it is. Yep. Second cannon.
Once again, though, Happy relying, on something that requires a bit of control. And as soon as his SUV was being attacked, he instantly reacted and threw it in there again, so it actually dropped to the back.
Sure.
And we do have a Marine coming up now, going to pick away at a couple of these probes, but straying into range of a cannon there. Finally does cancel the bunker. We'll see how much damage that Happy's able to do as a follow-up, producing 3 Marines at a time. Now has enough for an expansion, though.
Sure. Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit slower, though, just because of the issue, with doing that. But, yeah, like I said, I mean, this opening is actually so good against exactly what Happy did. A lot of Terran players that we've seen have been going for these multiple barracks pressures on Protoss players that do that fast expand. So Protoss players lately, very lately, have been doing, especially in Korea mostly, have been doing a Forge after that in order to get the cannons out and handle this type of thing so easily. And now he's going to be able to move into, whatever he wants to, and usually get like a +1 armor along with this. So this is actually a really cool new way that Protoss players are trying to play PvT. So we'll see, excuse me, we'll see how well it works. That is a lot of Marines coming out for Happy, but I feel like Crank is still going to be in an okay spot with this.
Well, let's see now. It looks like Happy did decide to double gas, so he will be able to throw in add-ons pretty quickly. Now, of course, he is very far behind in terms of worker count. Already down by 9. That represents about 50% of his workers alone. So,
oh, whoops.
Bye-bye, Zealot.
Didn't expect that to be there. Yeah, he sent that out there to try to see what was happening with that Zelnaga tower, and he saw what was happening all right. That's a lot of Marines coming in, but is it going to be enough to efficiently kill 2 cannons? Well, it might be if they just walk around.
That's right. Going around the side, there is a Stalker there to help, but he will be able to even up this worker count just a little bit and deny some good mining time. Another photon cannon is canceled, not really going to be relevant. And now these Marines do have a good position behind the Nexus. Unfortunately, they're being picked away, not really dealing with that Stalker quite yet.
Yeah, that looks like some pretty awesome micro from SlayerS Crank, picking off those Marines.
Well done.
Just using those cannons as a little defensive option. Yeah, now with 2 Stalkers out, it doesn't look like Happy's really going to be able to get a whole lot done with this. Yeah, microing that one Stalker back. He needs to keep both of those alive. It's
Whoa! Gets away with just 10 hit points, and unfortunately not really going to be a part of the rest of this fight. But these Marines are eventually going to go down. Happy doing the right thing now and going ahead and double expanding, so we make sure he catches up in his economy. And because he has, like I said, effectively denied this base for quite a while, is able to find some sort of equalization in terms of workers. BC Cutie, though, is disgusted. He is out.
Yep, he's like, well, this Terran player's in trouble. See ya. He goes away. Slight supply lead for our Protoss player SlayerS Crank right now. And what do we have on the production queue? We have more gateways coming up. Yeah, you definitely want to get a lot more gateways. He's going up to 6 gateways already. 7
Wow.
gateways already. Is it? Yeah, 7 gateways already. Wow. And so will there be, I keep expecting there to be a +1 armor along with this, because that's generally what Protoss players have been doing. But I will say that this is a very new way of playing a PvT. I mean, not a lot of players have really taken this to a pro level yet. So, you know, what we see players do at this Forge Expand versus Terran varies so greatly. You really can't predict what they're going to do at this point yet.
And we'll see, is he going to be able to catch the probe? He gets right out of view. Now we'll be able to find it. So he knows there's a forward pylon being put down. He should be able to go ahead and stop this pressure, at least for a little while. But the first 2 gateway units are making their way off to the right.
And good amount of sentries along with this, so we'll have to see where he decides to add things on. Some Marines and Marauders catch the other probe. And he's got a race there to catch that pylon and keep it alive. Okay, there we do have a warp in, so he should be okay. Largely Zealot sentry with this. And see, this is another thing. I'm, again, surprised that we don't have +1 armor. Can you click a unit for me? I'm just... Maybe, okay, we don't have
you're right.
+1 armor.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
With this, yeah, you generally go rather Zealot Sentry heavy in your composition, in the games that I've seen anyway, and in pros that I've talked to about this opening from Protoss. But Crank not going with the upgrade, just straight up units. He does have a lot of gateways, so he can't really afford it. Makes sense.
These SCVs know that Doom is at hand, but they will be there to repair the bunker until their dying breath.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to attack into that.
I mean, he bought enough time for Happy to put up 3 of those bunkers by going through the destructible debris over at the front. Another supply depot wall being erected here off to the side, and Happy's going to be in a pretty good shape to defend a lot of pressure, but my God, the units just keep stacking up now for Crank.
Yep, he's going to have Guardian Shield, and imagine just how much more effective this would have been with +1 armor. Guardian Shield would have been much more effective. And here we go. Zealots coming in, trying to get that nice round on the bunkers. Will he have enough to take it, though?
Well, the bunkers are getting pretty low, but they've been repaired pretty efficiently throughout this entire time. But 2 of the bunkers are now down. The Zealots have taken quite a bit of damage, but Happy is losing quite a bit of supply.
Oh, man.
Just the sheer brute force is going to be able to move through a lot of these units. How many workers have gone down? 17. Now 19 SCVs have been killed up to this point, and it looks like this bunker is going to fall as well.
Yeah, more reinforcements coming in for Crank right now, and he certainly has this natural expansion dead. I mean, Happy's going to definitely need a lift and make a run for it here. SCV's trying to buffer a little bit. SlayerS Crank waiting for those reinforcements, but man, that is just like the definition of brute force.
Yeah,
just moving in with those units and just doing damage. Wow.
All right, well, that's early game pressure. It's very difficult for Terran players to deal with. Protoss players have been executing that so well lately. The supply depot is going to fall here along with this engineering bay in just a bit. Mule says, "Hey, what's going on, guys?"
Well, if I'm right, and I think I am, there's no stim yet for Happy, right? Or is there? Does he have stim?
I believe he does.
Yeah, he does. Okay, all right. So I was wondering if maybe he didn't have stim or something like that. Well, that just makes this even more impressive, you know, that he had stim and still wasn't able to hold this off with 3 bunkers. Really, really good engagement from Crank. Zealot's getting a little bit bottlenecked there.
Yeah, but I mean, he can afford the losses at this point. I mean, he's sitting back on 2 bases.
Oh, nice hold position SCVs.
Yeah, really well done, actually. The SCVs do continue to keep falling, though. It's 12 workers to 45 at the moment. Pretty decent force up at the back, but and good micro out of Happy as well. He was cycling those through the medevacs over and over again, but that, unfortunately, will not be enough. The rest of the units are going to charge through here, and Crank looks poised to take a 2nd game in a row.
Oh, yeah, he's going to
GG
pretty badly. GG with the big smiley face from Happy. Crazy game, but Crank manages to take it. Really good example of what you can do after a Forge Expand as a Protoss player.